Hello, fourth graders. We are going to be talking about types of lines for math today. Our focus today is that you will be able to draw an example of a point, line, line segment, ray, perpendicular lines, and parallel lines. So all of these terms are going to sound very familiar because we have worked with them before. So we do have an anchor chart that you can reference, and I will also have my slideshow link on the DIN, this that I'm going over currently, for you to reference while you are doing your assignment. So today your goal is going to be able to define what they are, as well as creating an example of each of these terms. So the first one we're going to go over is a point. So a point is an exact location in a plane, or the stopping location. So a plane is just kind of that location. It's in that, it's in an area. So that's what that plane is. So in a given area. So a point is just that exact spot. So if you look at your picture there, you have 3 points, point A, point B, point C. So those are exactly where those places are. The next one is a line. So a line is an endless straight path with no endpoints. It goes on forever in both directions. Okay, so that line goes on and on forever, which is why those 2 arrows are there to signify that. There's no point on them to signal a stopping point, like you see with the line segment. So a line segment is a part of a line with 2 endpoints. So it has a starting point and a stopping point. So it might start at A and stop at B, or vice versa. It could stop at B and start at B and stop at A. Next we have a ray. So a ray goes on forever in one direction, which is where that arrow is, but it also has a end point. So that could either be the start point or the end point, but it does have one point, and that would be your ray. Parallel lines. These are lines in a plane, so in an area, that never intersect. So they are lines, so that's why they have the arrow, because they go on forever and ever, and they don't touch. Okay, they stay that same distance apart for however long they go on. And then you have your intersecting points. Okay, these are 2 lines that go on and on forever, but they only intersect at one point. Okay, there's nothing special about them, but they cross somewhere. They could make funky, they could be really close together, or they could be really far apart but still cross at some point. And then you have your perpendicular lines. Okay, perpendicular lines are lines that intersect to make 4 right angles. Remember, a right angle is 90 degrees. So that's when it forms the four little squares between the 2. So it has 4 90-degree angles. Okay, so your task for today, you are going to head over to Class Kick, and I will show you in just a moment, and you're going to define our math terms for today. Then you're going to create an example of each of the terms. Okay, we've done it before where we've used our body to create those examples. I used some items around my house to provide an example. Try not to use my examples, and try to find things that you can use to create your own. So we're going to head over to Class Kick here, and I'm going to show you your task. So once you are on Class Kick, after you've watched my video, you are going to come to slides 4 and 5, and that's going to be where your work is. But we're going to go to slides 6 and 7 here, because this is where my examples are. So you will be given you will have 7 things, and you're going to have to define what each term is. So exactly what we went over. So you're going to do that. Choose A, B, or C for each one, and it goes on to the second slide. So there's 4 here, and then there will be 3 on the other one. You're going to define them, and then you're going to give me an example. Okay, I want it to be a picture. I don't want you to just draw it, because I've already given you those drawings of what they look like on that slideshow. So try to be creative and make those things. I do want to point out that I did I made it so that way it was like our example. So when you look at my first example of a line, I took 2 of my colored pencils and put them together because they kind of look like an arrow on the end, signifying that they go on and on forever. And then when you look at a line segment or array, you can see that I used what I used for my point. So I have snap cubes here at home, so I use those on the ends of either my marker or my colored pencil to include those stopping points. And then same thing with my lines here, okay? On these ones I drew arrows just because I couldn't get it in the area to make it into the picture, so I drew arrows there. And that's okay, you can always draw arrows if you need to draw arrows, but if they are things that need arrows or they are things that need endpoints, make sure that you include those. So after you have completed your slides 4 and 5 and have watched my video, then go ahead and submit your work into Seesaw. Have a good day, mathematicians.